For most of my life, I would always believe that there is maybe a possibility that God or some other spiritual entity exists. So in other words, I would just describe myself as an agnostic person. An agnostic meaning that you do not reject the idea of a possibility that there is a God, but you also do not believe in him, as there is just not enough proof. Well, there isn't any proof actually to believe. So yeah, it's kind of like being in the middle, kind of like a centrism of religion, I guess you could say. But as I get to live more and more, I just have a feeling that I'm kind of turning away from the idea of agnosticism and kind of leaning towards atheism. And one of the big reasons for that is because I kind of stopped believing in spirituality whatsoever. You probably know all these people that are always preach about, destiny, being destined for something, or that God saved them from a car crash, or that God saved them from cancer because they underwent treatment that was successful. But the issue with saying that God saved someone or you from something is flawed, because then what about the people that were not saved from death, illness, or anything really? For instance, my aunt has passed away at the age of 44 because of cancer, and then her mom, which was my other aunt, passed away at the age of 32. And why didn't God save them? And I'm coming at this with a very emotional perspective angle, but what's the answer really? So God only chooses to save specific individuals? If that's the case, and that really happens, and he exists, and he's not just. The God is not just. And then we can also get to the whole idea of the world being unjust, how people are suffering for no particular reason. This is exactly why I also don't like the saying that everything happens for a reason, because it clearly does not happen for a reason. Sometimes there is literally zero reason. A child being sold for slavery and then being murdered, for instance, for fun. There's no reason in that. It was just a tragedy. And if God would have really existed, then possibly that tragedy would have been avoidable. But it wasn't. And to this day it isn't, because bad things are still happening on this planet. Good people are suffering, bad people are thriving. It's just a regular scenario of life. And if God really exists, then he allows for that stuff to happen, which is despicable, in my opinion. This is why nowadays I strongly choose not to believe in anything, because there's no reason for it, really. Even if he was real, I would still choose not to believe, not to follow. As for me, someone like this is just a false idol. I don't know, in my book, you're supposed to save all of us. And if you're not saving all of us, you're just choosing individuals, then you're just a false idol. Probably not saying anything new to anyone here, but yeah, I kind of had this in my mind for a while now. So I don't really hear people talk about disbelief, rejecting God. I hear more and more about people coming to the other side, which is something that I don't want to really, I don't want to criticize people who believe in any religion, is my point. That's not the idea of this video. The idea is just sharing my own opinion, and people are completely allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. And yeah, but I am also, allowed to disagree, to reject that idea, which is what I'm doing. Like I said before, I can't really be 100% sure that there is no God, but I can be 100% sure that even if he is around, he is unjust because of the things that are happening on the planet. So that I am 100% sure of, but I cannot be sure whether he exists or not. I guess I can't. It's just not in my power. It wasn't in anyone's power for thousands of years. So yeah, Okay, at this point I'm just kind of yapping about this, but the idea is that I wanted to share that I just stopped completely believing in anything, not just God himself, but also the idea of destiny, of, everything happened for a reason. I'm finally at a point in my life where I believe that everything is an accident, and it's completely up to you. What are you gonna do with it? Completely up to you. And in a way, it's a very liberating feeling, because now that you understand this, that you believe in that, everything that you do is even more valuable. It means even more, because now, as you understand that there is no destiny, you know that you have to create your own, and you are free to do anything you want, which is great. You are not chained by the idea of something being proposed on you, specified for you. You can really just do anything and possibly even succeed at it. I know that it kind of seems like a very sad vision of life, because it's not very romantic or emotional to believe that there is nothing and everything is an accident. Of course, I completely get it. It's not very romantic. And when you say that, things happen for a reason, that I'm destined for something, that I succeeded at something, and I was destined at it, that's such a great feeling to say, that I was meant for it. I knew I was meant for it. But in reality, you didn't know it. Like, you could have been meant for something else as well. Like, there's so many things to do in life. There's no way that you are capable of achieving great success only in one particular thing. That is just not a possibility, in my opinion. Okay, I believe that you can be great at least two things. Possibly even more. So maybe there's still some beauty in all of that. I know it's not romantic, like I said, it's not very emotionally driven, because that's just not what the culture has taught us. Like, all the movies are preaching about destiny, about spirituality, that someone was meant for something. Even the books, the video games we play, everything seems to be surrounded by the idea that everything happens for a reason. But the reality is, in the real world, it's completely different. And that's why it can feel so detached. The idea can feel detached. The idea that there is nothing. The idea that, that there is no particular meaning in any of this, in all of this. But I assure you that the more time I spend with this idea, the less sad, less detached it feels. And I would still consider myself a very emotional person, romantic one. And I believe in goodness, and I try to do good. But yeah, I don't need any meaning for this. I don't need reasoning. I don't need God or spirituality or anything really. Just it's there. It's not spiritual, it's just human nature to be emotional, to try to be good to one another. It's all possible without God. Just because you don't believe in those things, that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person right away. It doesn't have to make you a bad person at all. Of course, I can get behind the idea that it's easier to be an evil person when you don't believe in anything above you. Of course, it's easier to be evil then. Of course it is. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that a person will be evil just because he doesn't believe in anything above. In short, that's exactly why I do not believe, and I never will, most likely. That's just the hill that I'm gonna die on, what I'm standing on right now. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling confident, and it's great, really. And like I said, this is not an attack on Christians, on Muslims. It's not an attack on anyone. It's just a sharing of my own journey, of what I felt through the years that I've been on this planet. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up now, because it's like 3 a.m. I should probably get some sleep. But yeah, thanks for listening. See ya.